So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sibin Jacob Ali Tukudil. I'm a coordinator, International Student Support Services. With me, Marlon is here. Marlon will introduce himself. And
Okay, my name is Marlon Hernandez. I work as a recruitment manager for Latin America, Africa, and Europe. But also I am a Risia, like Sibin, and we're here to support you and give you some advice in terms of post-graduation work permit. Thank you for coming to this meeting.
this information session is on post-graduation work permit. So basically, we cover what is post-graduation work permit. There are some changes due to COVID about the eligibility or like some confusions for many. As some of you probably started your program from outside Canada, and the eligibility in the IRCC website may say some of the things because there are certain exceptions. So we'll cover those areas. Then how to apply for post graduation work permit, which include how to create an account with IRCC, then check your eligibility to apply and obtain your document checklist. Once you have the document checklist, then we also cover. We'll take a pause at the time, then answer some of the questions that in the chat box. Then we'll go to the second portion of the presentation, which how to complete the application form, IMM 5710. So that will be the pattern. Please keep your mic muted all the time until the last session, until the last end of the session. Then we'll first go with the questions in the chat box. Then we'll open the floor so that you can ask questions uh, uh, through your mic.
Okay,
So
Sibin, we have some questions that students requested through the registration process.
yeah,
So we will go through those questions too, and then we go to the chat questions, and then we go for them. Okay.
thank you, Manuel. So most of you are already aware of that one. What is a post-graduation work permit, or it's also called as short like PGWP. This is an open work permit allows eligible students to stay in Canada as a worker and gain Canadian work experience. This is an open work permit which allows the holder to work full-time, part-time, or to be self-employed. Even with your work permit, or once you apply for post-graduation work permit, you decide not to work, you can still stay in Canada without working. Why I said that one, it's not a joke because that is not allowed when you're with your study permit. Because if you stay away from study with a study permit, your study permit, even though that has a longer expiry, your study permit will become automatically will become invalid after 150 days if you stay away from study. But your post-graduate movement, nothing like that. If you have an issue date and expiry date, even if you're working or not working, doesn't matter. It's valid till, or you're eligible to remain in Canada till the end of the expiry of your post-graduation movement. The other thing about post-graduation work permit is the applicant can receive only one post-graduation work permit in their lifetime. That means if you apply for a program and successfully graduate from the program, then apply for your post-graduation work permit. Then at the end, you think that you are unable to apply for your permanent residence, your future immigration application to IRCC. So you come back to another study, then apply for post-graduation work permit. No, you cannot. So that's why we always advise students, if you're in a one-year program, request to or advise to take one more program so that both the program duration will count towards your post-graduation movement. So normally if you're completing two one-year programs, usually get 3 years of post-graduation movement based on the 2-year eligibility. Eligibility should be completed an academic, vocational, or professional training program at an eligible institution in Canada. Cambrian College is eligible with their DLI. If you have any doubt, you can check an IRCC website about Cambrian DLI. You have the DLI number. It starts with O with the letters. So you can check that one. Then it says Cambrian offers post-graduation movement eligible programs. This program is at least 8 months duration, leading to a degree or diploma or certificate. Most of the program Cambrian has, like it's more than 8 months, except English program. And most of the programs are 1 year, not 8 months, except EAPP program. Maintain full-time student status in Canada during each academic session of the program of studies. It means if you are maintaining part-time student status in any semester or any semester other than your last semester. So only one exception to this condition is your very last semester. If you're graduate, if you're enrolled as part-time student in your very last semester, you still be eligible to get your post-graduation work permit if you maintain full-time student status in every other semester. I've received a transcript and official letter from eligible designated learning institution confirming that you met the requirements to complete the program of study. Also, your transcript. So you have to have two documents. Earlier it was one. Now you should have your course completion letter and transcript, or your graduation notification plus transcript, or graduation certificate itself and transcript, whichever comes first along with the transcript should be submitted to IRCC to verify your eligibility for post-graduation work permit. You should apply. If you're applying from within country, within Canada, you should apply within 90 days or before study permit expires, whichever comes first. If you're applying from within with your study permit. If you're outside Canada, or if you want to apply or extend, if you want to apply within in 180 days, if you're outside Canada, you don't need to do anything. You can just apply as an outside Canada application. But if you want to stay in Canada and want to apply after 90 days, you should change your status from student to visitor, then stay in Canada. You may allow to stay back in Canada for another 90 days, but you should apply for post graduation award within 180 days. In that case, you may not be able to work because if you have a valid study permit, then only once you apply for post-graduation work permit, the study permit condition that allows you to work full-time will be applicable. So we checked about the eligibility, then we have to check also who is not eligible. Studied a program that was less than 8 months, studied more than 8 months, but not continuously. If you do not have a break in your program, but you create an academic a gap in your program, then as per the IRCC guidelines, you're not eligible for post-graduation movement. Completed a study program by distance learning, either from abroad or from within Canada, is also not eligible as per IRCC definition. I just put that in red because there are temporary exceptions to that condition. Already had a post-graduation work permit following completion of another program of study. If you already received your post-graduation work permit before, then you're not eligible for another post-graduation work permit or an extension. Sometimes, if you, let's say, if you completed a 2-year program and you received, you're eligible for 3 years of post-graduation work permit, but your passport is expiring in 1 year, then you only receive 1 year post-graduation work permit. In that case, it's not an extension. You're eligible to get the remainder period of your post-graduation work permit once you renew your passport. So that's the only way that you are eligible to. It's not an extension, the way I said, like to get the remainder period of your post-graduation work permit. If your post-graduation work permit eligibility is shortened due to the passport expiry. So the way it said, like there are certain exceptions. Post-graduation work permit eligibility due to COVID-19. If you are inside Canada, you're still eligible for post-graduation work permit. If your in-person classes in Canada have been moved to an online-only format, and you are taking classes online because of COVID, and this might be most of you completed many of the subjects or program in this way, and you still be covered or eligible for post-graduation movement. The second condition may not be applicable at this time because it says you have to put your studies on hold or study part-time during winter, spring, summer 2020 semesters. Due to COVID, then you still be eligible for post-graduation movement. I think it's 2 years ago. So most of you graduated, or started your program after summer 2020. If you started a program, or if you after summer 2020, then you are required to maintain full-time student status in every semester. As of fall 2021 semester, you must studying full-time to become eligible for post-graduation work permit. Outside Canada graduate, you can apply for post-graduation work permit from outside Canada as long as you're eligible. You have approved, and you have approved for a study permit. That means if you complete your program and you have at least the study permit approval by the time you complete your program, you don't need to be in Canada, or you don't need to have a valid study permit. You just have a valid approval from your regional visa office still enough to apply for your post-graduation work permit, and you have 180 days to apply for post-graduation work permit once you get your degree or diploma from Cambridge College. So outside Canada, the current exception to study from outside Canada is from spring 2020 till summer 2022. That means if you're taking a program or graduating by August 31st, 2022, you're any time that you study from outside Canada while waiting for your study permit decision from IRCC, or if you already have a study permit and you're studying from outside Canada, that duration will count towards your post-graduation work permit. But any studies that you do after August 31st, 2022 will not be counted for post-graduation work permit eligibility or duration as per the current regulation. So far, there is no update. There may be an update. We never know. And the way it seems like normally, if it is something close to like this much close, probably IRCC, if they want to extend it, they would have been updated us through their website. But so far, there is no update. That means it may end in August 31st, 2022. And last time when they extended it, they also put a word that the last extension. So probably there may not be an extension, but we never know. Based on how they can, how fast they can process all the study permit application to start programs from September 2022. That's how they will decide whether they need to increase the eligibility to study from outside Canada. But at this time, we don't have an update on that one. Validity of post-graduation work permit. If you're studying a program of 8 months, you will get 8 months of post-graduation work permit. Most of our programs are, even though it says like 2 semester, when you calculate the semester wise, the length will be 8 months, but that program is called 1-year program, and you're eligible for 1-year post-graduation work permit if you're completing 2 semesters back to back. If your program has like 8 months to 2 years, the similar amount of duration will be your post-graduation work permit. If let's say if you are completing 1.5 year of studies, then you are eligible for 1.5 years of post-graduation work permit. But we do not have any program like that. We have 1-year program, we have 2-year program. If you are completing 1-year program, you will be eligible for 1-year post-graduation work permit. If you're completing a 2-year program, that means 4-semester program, you are eligible for the maximum duration of post-graduation work permit, which is 3 years. Any program that is 2 years or longer, the post-graduation work permit should be 3 years. If you're completing 2 1-year program, or a combined length of the program is, each program should be more than 8 months, and the combined length of the program is 2 years or longer, then you still be eligible for 3 years of post-graduation work permit. So even though you are enrolled in a program that is normally 1-year duration, but you complete the program in an accelerated way, that means you complete that in 8 months, you still be eligible for 1 year of post-graduation work permit. That's the case in, like, let's say, project management or organization management. Those programs will complete in 8 months, you still be eligible for 1 year post-graduation work permit. How to apply for post-graduation work permit? The options are you can apply from inside Canada using IMM 5710, an online application. There is no paper application at this point of time due to COVID. They made everything online, unless until if you have specific requirements, they may give you permission to apply on paper. But you should be able to prove that one. You can also apply from outside Canada through online application IMM 1295. That is the outside Canada application. I didn't put that one because we cover in this session how to apply from within Canada. How much it will charge? Total fee for post-graduation work permit is like $155 for your work permit, and open work permit holder fee of $100. So total $255. Most of you completed your biometrics before coming to Canada. If you already completed your biometrics before entering Canada, most likely it's valid because it's valid for 10 years. If you have valid biometrics, you don't need to do again. If you do not have, that means if you entered Canada before 2018 December 3rd, because that's the day they introduced biometrics, then you have to, then probably you didn't do biometrics. In that case, you may have to do your biometrics, and you don't need to do biometrics. The only thing, along with your application, you have to pay that $85. Then later, IRCC will connect with you to give you the guideline how to go to a biometric center to provide your biometrics information. Work permit processing time, due to the current situation, IRCC, everything is delayed, and especially work permit is delayed in I think it's around 149 days of processing. Whereas a post-graduation work permit application, you don't need to worry about the processing time that much, because the moment you complete your post-graduation permit application with a valid study permit, you're allowed to work full-time. And that means even if it's delayed like 3-4 months, you still be eligible to work in Canada as a full-time based on your study permit condition. Sorry. So if you are here as a student with your spouse and dependent, when you apply for a study permit, you probably included your spouse or kids, dependent kids, along with your application, and you applied. And if you apply for an extension, you would have did the same thing, like you included your spouse and kids application along with your application. You don't need to prove anything other than the proof of funds that required for your dependents too. But when you apply for post-graduation work permit, please note that you're changing your status from student to worker. So no, it's not the same requirement as student, because you have to meet the requirements of worker in order to include your spouse open work permit along with your application. That means if you are working in NOC, a National Occupation Classification, A, B, or O, and please have 3 pay steps in an employment, that is either skill level A, skill level B, or skill level O. It can be part-time, or anyway, you cannot work full-time at this time, so it can be part-time, no issue, but it should be in those 3 skill level into the application, because there is no special requirement. But in your spouse application, you should meet the worker eligibility to accompany the spouse condition should be met in order to apply for your spouse open work permit allowance. So once like, because many of you would have been stayed in Canada for long, like maybe you completed a 2-year program or a 3-year program and you never visited back home. Sometimes you want to travel. Once you waited for the program to complete to travel back to your home country. And I know we know that last 2 years there are many travels were restricted, and we were not recommending anyone to travel due to COVID and everything. But if you are decided to go back to your country and come back, you may once you apply for post graduation work permit, you may go with that application. Only thing is you should have, if you're from a visa required country, you should have your TRV or ETA valid, because if your TRV is expired, then you may not be able to come back to Canada. So make sure. Normally, when you get your study permit, they normally give you a study permit 90 days on top of your completion date. So that means your TRV also may be valid up to the same time. If your TRV, temporary resident visa, the one that's stamped in your passport, is valid, then you may make a trip to your home country or outside Canada and come back within the expiry of your TRV. But if your TRV is expiring soon, do not make any travel until you get your post-graduation work permit and apply for another TRV based on your new post-graduation work permit. So as I mentioned, most of you, if you check your study permit, the study permit has the work eligibility condition. Basically, the study permit is the key document that allows you to do 3 things in Canada. That is, one, you can stay in Canada. Second one, you can study in Canada. And third one is there is a condition that allows you to work on campus, off campus, and off campus full time once you apply for post-graduation work permit. So that condition normally says may accept employment on or off campus if meeting the eligibility criteria R 186 FP or W, must cease working if no longer meeting the eligibility criteria. If you have that condition, that means you're allowed to work on campus up to 20 hours during your study time. On campus, there is no limit for that one. Off campus, the condition B states that you can work off campus up to 20 hours during your regular academic session and full time during your scheduled break. And the condition W, R186W, allows anyone who successfully completed the program and apply for post graduation work permit with a valid study permit eligible to work full time until a decision comes from IRCC on their post-graduation work permit application. If the application is approved, you will receive your work permit, and the conditions on your work permit you have to follow the conditions on your work permit. If somehow your application is denied, then you must stop working at the time. So that is a special condition that allows you to work full time once you apply for your post-graduation work permit. So there may be a confusion for because it's 20 hours of work, then you have a period that you graduate from your program, you didn't apply for post-graduation work permit. What is the work eligibility at that time? Then once you apply for post-graduation work permit, the things like that. So this is just to clarify that one as the final day of class. It means a lot to you because you've done all the assignments and tests for your program. Doesn't mean anything to IRCC because IRCC still consider you as a full-time student until you receive an official communication from college stating that you met all the requirements for your program, which will be for this time it will be your course completion letter that you're going to receive in your MyCambrian account. So until that period, you will be considered as full-time student. That means you are allowed to work up to 20 hours until you receive your course completion letter in your MyCambrian account. Once you receive your course completion letter, and then if you're applying for post-graduation work permit, you cannot work at all. Your work should be zero until you apply for post-graduation work permit. Let's say if you receive your course completion letter on June 30th and you apply for post-graduation work permit on July 2nd, sorry, that 2 days you cannot work at all. But once you complete your program, you don't need to wait the 2 days to apply for your post-graduation work permit. You can apply on the same day and you can start working. Once you apply for post-graduation work permit, you're eligible to work full-time. Some of you, because it's 149 days of processing now, you may not have your study permit valid up to that. So probably your study permit will expire in between or while waiting for the decision. Study permit expiry doesn't affect your work eligibility. You still be eligible to work full time. Some may have a confusion because along with your study permit expiry, your SIN number also will expire, because the expiry date of SIN number is the same as your study permit. So it doesn't matter. You're still eligible to work full time because you have. It's not a maintenance status, but the condition which we mentioned in the previous slide, like R186W, that allows you to work until you get a decision from IRCC on your post-graduation work permit, irrespective of your study permit validity. Only thing that ask is you should have a valid study permit at the time of application. So as long as you have your study permit valid, at this time, apply for post-graduation work permit, and once you successfully complete your post-graduation work permit application with your valid study permit, then you're eligible to work full time. And when your social insurance number expires, that has an implied status that allows you to continue work. And once you get your new post-graduation work permit, you can go to the nearest Service Canada and update your profile so that you will get your the same social insurance number with an updated expiry date. So if you want a study permit application, sorry, not study permit, post-graduation permit application. I'm sorry for the confusion. So the requirements, valid, you should have a valid credit card because you have to pay a lot of fees for this one, $255 if you're applying for yourself. If you're applying or including your spouse, not open work permit. If you're eligible, you can apply. Then again, $255. If you're not eligible, if you're adding another permit, then like you have to pay the required fees. So that will be through a valid credit card. Copies of your documents available in PDF version to upload. Digital photo of you, that the photo size is passport size photo, 45 to 35 mm. Chin to crown should be from 35 to 45 mm. And most important, you should have an Adobe Reader software in your computer, because this is a print application that you can type all the information to that application. You're required to type everything to the application. Then at the end, you can validate and save it and ready for upload to IRCC online portal. So make sure that you have Adobe Reader software in your computer. If you do not have them, I think it's a free software. You can download it from internet. So make sure that you have that one and keep that one downloaded in your computer, or that Adobe Reader software available. Because even if after this one, if you're applying for visa, or if you're applying for your PR, every time when you connect with IRCC for any application, most of the applications are in the same format with PDF. So you should have this software in your computer to apply for your future immigration applications. So the way I mentioned, the steps, step-by-step process. First one is create an account with IRCC. If you do not have an account with IRCC, you have to create one. If you already have an account and you have that access means you have the username, password, and security questions, you can log into that one and start your application from that one. If you have an account but you do not have the access to that one, like say some students may have an account but their agent created for the first study permit application and they may not have the credential to log in back to that one, you don't need to worry. You don't need to bring your agent back. You can create another one. It's not an issue. But what we recommend is, once you create an account, or if you have access to one account, please keep that one for your future immigration applications. Once you create an account, you can check your eligibility to obtain your document checklist. So once you check your eligibility, once you provide all the required information, they will assess your eligibility, and based on that one, you will receive your document checklist complete. Once you have the document checklist, that the first one will be the application form. So complete the application form. Once you complete and validate the application form, everything is ready for upload. Then upload the documents, electronic signature, payment, submit your application. So if you're not familiar with the IRCC site, just Google for cac.gc.ca or use the QR code or the link. Then probably you have to scroll down a bit to see sign in or create an account to apply online. Click on that one. Once you click on that one, you have options to register. There is option one, you can create a GC key, and with GC key you can log into your IRCC portal. The other one, you can use your banking information to log into or create an account with IRCC. We normally recommend the GC key one because you're creating GC key, then you can you don't need to provide any personal information. That one, sometimes students are not comfortable to provide their banking information because sometimes you may log in from different computers and they're not comfortable with that one. So we always prefer with the option one with signing with GC key. So, and this guideline shows how to sign in with GC key. Once you click on that one, there is a sign up option. If you already have an account in GC key, you just use your username and password. By the way, if you already created an account with the banking information, you don't need to worry. You can just go ahead with that one. I just mentioned like some students are not comfortable. Doesn't mean that that's not an option. That is also an option. You can use that one, or if you already have an account with that one, please go ahead and sign in. Log into your account. If you already have GC key account, sign in with your username and password. If you do not have, click on sign up. Once you click on sign up, of course, you have to accept the terms and conditions. So to move forward, you have to just click on accept. I accept, then create your username. You can create any username. Normally, students use their name. Please make sure that you cannot use the space. That means if you have two names, you have to put it together. Only one advice I can give in this one is like if you have very common name, then every time you type, sometimes when you type the username, that may not be available, it's already taken. So sometimes you try different name or adding letters or things like that. If you do something like that, try to write it somewhere, so that, because sometimes if it is a very familiar name, you may not be getting accepted to this one maybe in 3-4 tries. So every time you try, you may remember that at the time, but when you try to log in back, you may not remember which one is accepted. So every time you try, just write it somewhere so that you know the last one is accepted, and you can use that one for your future login to the account. So once you do that one, continue, then create your password. Make sure that you follow the password checklist on the right side. If you have that one, the password will be accepted. Then you have to create the questions. For the first one, you select from the drop-down menu, then answer your memorable person. If you say your dad's name, then you can say the memorable person's hint will be like my dad. If you say the memorable person, a memorable date, if you are putting your date of birth as year, month, date, then you can put a hint as like my birthday or something. So if you complete that one, your GC key is complete, and with GC key you continue your account with IRCC. So give a name, last name as per your passport. So here onwards, it will be like it should be very the same as your passport. So given name as per your passport, last name as per your passport, email address, then preferred language either French or English. And the last name and given name, let's say if your passport, some passports, some students may have only one name, and that may be put in under under given name column in their passport. If you have a passport only with one name in your passport, and that is in, the given name column in your passport, you can leave the given name column blank here and write that name in your last name. So please make sure, if you have given name and last name in your passport, do it in the same way. If you have only given name in your passport, you leave the given name column blank here and add that name under last name column. If you have any confusion in that one, you check your study permit. The study permit, your name will be written under family name and given name column will be blank. Use the same way. Then you have to create security questions for your IRCC account. So make sure that you type your own questions, and the questions should be something simple and unique, because every time you log into your account, one of this question will be asked, and every time you're about to pay for your application, again one of this question will be asked. So this should be something simple. Remember, because if you forget this one, then you will not be able to log in or apply from your own account. So make sure that you remember all these questions. You can type your own questions, you can type your own answers, but only thing is you should remember that one. So once you create your security questions, you successfully completed your IRCC account. So once you once you complete everything, just scroll down to see apply to come to Canada. So once you see this one, you can just click on that one. Once you click on that one, um, there will be a personal checklist. You don't, or personal reference code. You don't need to worry about that one, because you didn't do your eligibility from outside of the portal. You just going to do this one, so you can ignore the personal reference code. You can just simply leave that one. Then scroll down to see visitor visa, study, and or work permit. Just click on that one. Once you click on that one, start the eligibility questions. What you like to do in Canada? In your case, you're applying for post-graduation work permit to work. Second question: how long you're planning to stay in Canada? Temporarily more than 6 months. Select the country code that matches with your passport. Then current country of residence. If you're applying from Canada, you should select Canada. A family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident and is 18 years or older, you can say yes to that one. Otherwise, no. Your date of birth, day, year, month, date. Are you lawful permanent resident of US? You can answer to that one. No. Current immigration status, student. You work. Are you plan to work on campus? No. Please note that these questions are to uh, filter your filter your and like narrow down your requirement to the post-graduation document. So answer in a way that you get your post-graduation document as the option. So you're not, probably you may be able to work on campus at this time, we don't know, but like in this case, you're not looking for that eligibility. That's why we said no. Are you a full-time student participating post-secondary education, want to work off campus up to 20 hours per week? You are eligible, but in this case, you're saying no, because that's not your intention at this time. Are you recently graduated from a participating Canadian post-secondary institution for which the study program was full-time and minimum of 8 months? You can say yes to that question. Then, is work is essential part of your studies, for example, co-op or internship program? You can say no, that's not your intention at this time. Only yes to your post-graduation question. Then there's some PR eligibility. I know some students already apply for permanent residency. They may have these questions confused, but you can answer no to all these questions, because you're not applying for a work permit based on your PR application. You're applying for your work permit based on the studies. So this is just to, it's not you're telling right to immigration, is just to narrow down your application to post-graduation work permit. That's all. Even if you say yes to this one, then you may have like other than post-graduation movement, you may have like a couple more options available. Then you have to again narrow down it manually. So instead of doing that one, you can say no to all these questions, so that it will be narrowed down as per the yes to postgraduate work permit. So it will be easy for you. Do you have an official letter from school confirms that you have completed your study program as well as your final copy of your final transcript? You probably receive your course completion letter in your my Cambrian account, and at the same time you will have your final transcript available in the school in my Cambrian. That means you don't need to have the official copy. You can also apply with the copy that is available from college website as per ISCC update. So if you say yes, then your marital status, like you can answer to that question. If you are planning to change your province from Ontario to another province, if you're already moving or you are moving in 1 or 2 months, you can provide that information. Otherwise, if you're staying back in Ontario, you can say um, Ontario. So based on our answers, we had like two options over here. If you answer yes to many of the questions, you may have like 3-4 options over here. So in this one, we again narrow down to post-graduation work permit. So we just continue with post-graduation work permit. Then again confirming that you have the official letter from school that you have completed your study program. You can say yes to that one. Have you had a medical exam performed by IRCC authorized panel physician in the last 12 months? If you have a valid medical done by an IRCC authorized panel physician in the last 12 months, you can say yes to that question. If not, you don't need to say yes. Yeah, check the last medical that you completed for IRCC. You may have any medical receipt from them confirming that you had a valid medical. I have a copy, I believe. I will show that in the later slides. But there's a confusing thing in that one is sometimes people get confused with the issue date and expiry date that printed in the confirmation page, because that is the issue date and expiry date of your passport. That may be valid more than 1 year. Doesn't mean that the certificate or the medical exam is valid for more than 1 year. That's just your passport expiry date. This medical exam is only valid from the day you visited the doctor for 1 year or 12 months. So if you have one valid, you can say yes to that one. Otherwise, you can go to the second question. Have you lived in designated country or territory more than 6 months in the last 1 year? So if you stayed in Canada for more than 6 months in the last 12 months, you can say no to this question. If you're outside Canada and you're from a visa required country, you stayed in that country for more than 6 months in the last 1 year, then you have to say yes to this question. If you say no to this question, then it will be, if you're in Canada, you can say no to this question if you lived in Canada for 6 months at least in the last 12 months. If you're graduating from one of this program that requires job in health science worker, clinical laboratory worker, or work in community settings, then you can say yes to this one. If you're not working in these areas, let's say if you're graduating from practical nursing, if you're graduating from developmental service worker or early childhood education or social worker or addictions and mental health, any of these programs that needs or OTPA or FPRO, so any program that relates to healthcare or community settings, may have to say yes to this question. Then you may need a valid medical, let's say. But if you're graduating from international business management or HMPD or organization management or supply chain management, any of those programs or general business, you're not going to work in any of this area, so you can say no to that one. And if you say no to this question, and if you are saying no to the second question too, then you don't need to upload a valid medical. But if you're working or if you're graduating from a healthcare or community program, you have to have a valid medical at the time of your post-graduation work permit application. So a medical exam is needed if you're working any of this one. You have an option to submit your medical along with your application. That will speed up the process. If you do not have a valid medical at the time of application, you can say that you have to get one, but you're unable to get it before submitting the application. In this one, I said yes. I will be submitting along with my medical along with my application, but you can also say no to this one, so that there will be an extra form available in your document checklist, and you have to just download the form, click and request for medical exam, then you can submit that one and complete your application. And later you can go to an IRCC authorized panel physician to get your medical done. Once you complete your medical, you can update IRCC with your e-medical receipts. Then your application will be processed that you have a valid medical. If you want to submit an application for family member, the way I said, if you're including your spouse, if you're eligible to include your spouse, open document, you have to meet the requirements. But if let's say if your study permit is expiring next week or next month, and your spouse open document also expiring the same day or same duration, you may apply for a visitor record for your spouse, because you're not eligible. If you're not eligible to apply for an open document, you can have another status in Canada. In those cases, you can come back to either myself or Marlon so that we can discuss in detail with that one, your dependence application, how you can include your dependent application along with that one, or we can have that discussion in the at the end for more clarity. Are you giving access? Are you giving access to anyone? If you're applying by yourself, you can say no to that question. And then the biometrics question: have you completed a biometrics in the last 10 years? If you already completed, you can say yes to that question. Then the other three, you don't have any choice. You have to say yes. There is a fee that you're required to pay, so you have to say yes to that one. If you are making digital copies of your documents, you have to say yes to that one. Will you be paying your application fee online through valid credit card? You have to say yes to that one too. So once you complete all those eligibility questions, you will get a chance to review everything. If you like go through each questions, if you need to edit something, you just click on the button there so that you can edit the section. Then the next questions will be based on that one. They will ask that question if you want to change, and then if everything is clear, then you can just click on the continue at the end. Once you continue, they will give you the steps to apply. Just to continue, then that will take you to the document checklist. The document checklist include your open document application, that is IMM 5710, then your recent education transcript that you're required to provide along with your application, then your course completion letter, passport, the biographical page of your passport plus any stamps or markings should be added as one PDF document and attached with your application. Digital photo that should be in JPG format. Passport size photo, 35 to 45 mm, chin to crown should be from 31 to 36 mm. Then proof of upfront medical exam. If you are unable to provide a medical along with that one, and you are in a program or your intent to work in healthcare or community setting, you're required to provide a medical, but you're unable to provide your medical at the time, you can say proof of upfront medical exam or request for medical exam. If you already have your medical, then you can attach that one under proof of upfront medical exam. Then optional documents, you're not required to provide any optional document, but let's say if you completed project management and your second program as organization management and applying for postgraduate from government for 3 years comparing to 1 year program, in that case, sometimes what happens is like when you upload all these documents, you upload your both course completion letter over here. Then if you completed both the programs from Cambridge, you only receive one transcript that includes both the programs information that you upload in here. So sometimes the officers say they see the one course completion letter, they probably sometimes may not scroll down till the end to see the second one. So in that case, if you are completing two programs and applying for post-graduation permit for the total duration, then what we normally recommend is to write an explanation letter under client information stating that I completed my first program from this period to this period, and I'm my second program from this period to this period, and I'm attaching both course completion letter and joint transcript from Cambridge College for both the programs. So please to consider my post-graduation work permit for the maximum duration or total duration. So, and with that letter, what it says or what it do is like when if the in case if the officer missed to check the second letter that you attached under course completion letter, then with this one, the officer will go back to this one so that you will get the total duration of post-graduation movement. Why I suggest that one is we had a couple of students, they got their study permit. Even after completing two programs, they got their post-graduation movement only up to 1 year. Then when we went back to the officer, they didn't see the second one. So this is with that one, we recommend you to, if you complete two programs, just add one um, explanation letter under client information so that it will be even in case if the officer missed, this will be a reminder for them to check your course completion letter for both programs. Then the fee, work permit fee of work permit fee of 155. I said biometrics is not done, so that's why that 85 was added. If I say I completed my biometrics, then that will be removed from that one. Then it's $100 open work permit holder fee, so it's total $255. So that's uh, that's about completing the document, completing the eligibility check and obtaining your documents at least. We'll take a pause to see if we have questions. If we see Marlon around, then once we answer some of the
Yes,
questions,
we have some questions here. Give me a second. Give me a second. I have some questions in here. I will read the questions that we have from the beginning, and from the students who sent those questions to us. First question is, how much time do I have to apply after I receive my graduation letter? That question was answered in this presentation, but yet again, pretty much you have up to 100. Oh, where I'm lost in here. I'm sorry.
Okay, I will answer to that one question.
Okay.
So I don't know why students want to wait for wait for the last day to apply for post-graduation work permit. I strongly recommend as soon as you get your graduation notification and your
Sibin, let me explain you why. Sibin, yes, you're right. This is the line of thinking I have too. This is what I will do. However, most of the students who have come to me and ask me, how long can I wait until I right after I get the graduation letter, is because they're only taking one program and they're playing the game. Okay, let me finish. They're playing the game of I will apply to a work permit until the moment I get a job offer as a NOC 0 AOB. That's the only reason behind that.
I'm coming to that one. So I recommend to apply as soon as possible. Why? Because you see the current processing time is 149 days. So once you apply, you're eligible to work full time from the day you apply. You may wait until or up to 90 days, or if your current study permit expires before the 90 days. Let's say if your study permit expires in July 31st, you don't have 90 days. You can only you have to apply within July 31st because you should have a valid study permit. So your study permit is expiring before the 90 days, then that will be the deadline for you to apply. Otherwise, 90 days. Because if you want to start work immediately after applying, you should be applying within 90 days. But what happens with many of the companies, if you are looking for like NOC, AB, or RO job, and to apply for your post-graduation movement, many of them, they will look for your eligibility to work in Canada. We know IRCC allows you to work as soon as you apply for post-graduation movement, but the HR people in different companies may not know this one. And if they, let's say, if there is one student with an open work permit and another student as like eligible to apply for an open work permit, and both scored in the same way in the interview, who they will prefer? They want to avoid less or risk, right? Less, they will go with the less risk. Then they will prefer the person who is with work permit. So my recommendation is, because it's the long processing time at this time, you may apply, because it's again close to 90 days for sure for your processing and everything. That another 3 months. The current processing time is 149 days, I believe. So that means like at least 2 to 3 months will take for your application to be processed. That will be enough time to search for a job in your field. At the time, you can also work, and you can also show that you're working. Otherwise, you will not be doing anything until you apply for post-graduation movement. So, in that perception, I will recommend you to apply. With the current scenario, I will ask you to apply or recommend you to apply as soon as possible, so that you will be eligible to work in Canada. At the same time, you can look for your intended occupation in NOC, AB, or O. And when you apply, the other question normally students have is like, when you apply, what will be the date of issue and expiry? The date of issue will not be the next day, the date you apply. The date of issue will be the day they process your application. So the processing time is like 90 days or 120 days. Let's say if you apply today, they process your application on August 30th. August 30th, they process your application. And you will receive, because they process it and they send it via mail. So when they send it via mail, it takes another 3-4 days or 5 days or maybe 2 weeks to get the document in your hand. So when the document in your hand, it will be by like September 5th or something. But it's not the day that you receive it, it will be the day they're processing. So you get a document on September 5th, that is valid from August 20th till August 20th, 2024, or sorry, 2023, even it's 1 year program. So I
Okay.
will again, yeah, go to the next question, Marlon.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
explain if we have more time at the end.
Okay. Okay. What type of job do I have to get according to NOC if we came with a partner? Okay, that was explained by Sibin minutes ago. You have to have a job, 0 A or B, and you can be part time or full time, but you need 3 pay stubs, and then you can put it in your husband or wife work permit application. When should I expect to start this request? If I began in January 2022, if the person who requests that question and asked that question is in here, would you please elaborate? Because I don't know, I don't understand what it mean. When should I expect to start this request? What request does it mean? I mean, post-graduation work permit, you can only apply for post-graduation work permit after you receive the graduation letter from Cambrian College. But if you meant to have a different question, please contact us back and define more the question. Can I work full time during my implied status? If yes, what documents do I need to share with companies as proof that I can work during this time? Before we go into implied status or not, please notice that you have to apply for post-graduation work permit so you can be able to work. Not because you graduate. Steven, I think he already showed the table or the graph actually, when it shows that by the time you receive a letter from us saying that you have been graduated, you cannot work at all unless you apply for post-graduation work permit. And no, you don't have to show any document. But however, in Immigration Canada, there is a question says that can I work while apply for post-graduation work permit? What you can do is that you can go and print that answer, because that answer is what we are telling you right now, and you can show that to the employer. Hopefully for you, most of the employer, I will say 99% of the employers. Yes. Go ahead.
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah. Okay. I will try it again. I'm sorry. What we're saying is that you can go ahead and share with your employer. There is a question in Immigration Canada. You can ask, can I work while I'm waiting for post-graduate work permits? That answer, you can print it and show it to your employer and say, this is what Immigration Canada says. Immigration Canada says, yes, you can work. And secondly, we are pretty much sure that most of the employer, if not all of them, are aware that you can work by the time you graduate, and you can apply for post-graduate work permit. And the moment you apply for post-graduate work permit, then you can work. Chances are he will ask you for your study permit too, because in your study permit it says the condition that you can work. That's the only two things you can show them. Anything else, there's nothing else you can show at this point of time. Another question here. Can I work full time? Okay. I would like to ask about offering me a new LOA in order, I guess, to extend my study permit and work permit. They will be expiring in November 2022. I want to extend earlier before they expire. How can I have a new LOA? Okay, if that is your question, please send an email to international@cambridgecollege.ca and ask for a second program. Please be sure that you tell them, you give your student ID number, the program that you're taking right now, when do you plan to graduate, and which program do you want to go. It will give us a better understanding what you want to do. And another thing, if you want to apply for September, today is very unlikely that you get a seat for September. However, you can try. So because it's kind of late to apply for September, but anyway, you can try to see if we can get you a seat for September. I would like to ask about okay. Is it necessary to apply for another program after my first program? Okay, this is something is very strategic for you. Steven has been mentioning, and we normally tell students, if you're taking one program, it would be better for you to take a second program. You don't have to do it. There is no mandatory. There's no law that says that you have to take two programs in Canada. However, we normally tell them to take two programs because in most of the cases, you may end up needing more time for you to apply for Immigration Canada or for study permit, I'm sorry, for express entry or any other program that Immigration Canada has. But it's up to you. It is extremely up to you if you want to take a second program. We understand that is sometimes some students don't want to do it because of money. Some students don't want to do it because they don't want to study anymore. But you will be better off if you take two programs. But you don't have to. There is no law that says you have to take two programs. But you will be better off if you take two programs, especially if you're single. If you're married, you have the benefit of you negotiating with your husband or your wife, ask her to come to study later on. But when you're single, it is harder, and yet it's your option. We cannot. It's up to you if you want to study one more program. I just rounded my first year program, and I would like to apply for my post-graduate work permit, but my study permit has not yet been approved by Immigration Canada. Do I still go ahead and apply for my work permit? Steven, you already explained something about it, right?
Sorry, which one?
Okay, the question is, I just rounded up my first year program, and I would like to apply for my post-graduation work permit, but my study permit has not yet been approved by Immigration Canada. Do I still go ahead and apply for my work permit? I think this student is not even in Canada at this point of time, and he applied for study program. He's about to graduate, and yet his study permit never has been approved. And he wants to apply for post-graduate work permit without a approval.
Yeah. So with the IRCC update that you have to have your study permit approved in order to apply for post-graduation work permit, and that we shared. We also had one meeting with IRCC offices in India. So I just want to share this one because I only received that from the office in India. That they said, like, when students wait for their study permit application confirmation, and if they complete their program, they still can apply for post-graduation work permit. The process what they follow is they will immediately process the study permit application like it's approval. It's not even issue a study permit or like visa or things like that. They will just approve it in the system so that you are eligible for to apply for post graduation work permit. So their recommendation was, even if your study permit application is in process with IRCC, apply for post graduation work permit so that they will process the study permit application for a day, then they will process your post graduation work permit. I checked for the same information in in IRCC website. The IRCC website clearly say that you should have your study permit approved in order to apply for post graduation permit. This is a confusing information received from IRCC officer who processed the application. So I'm not sure is it applicable to every market, but India, I'll definitely advise students to do that one. If they wait for their study permit application to be processed, they can apply for post graduation permit, because this is the person who is processing the application in India. I'm not sure about other regions or visa offices may have the same. Only thing is, if you want to try, you have to pay $255 to apply. But uh, um, you can try that one, because we received that information from an IRCC officer. Marlon.
Okay. And there are some questions in here. I will go to the chat now. Give me a second. I will close this. It takes a while for me to find it in here. What? Right here. Chat. Okay. There are some questions that I have in here. Some people have sent the question directly to me, but anyway. One question here. If I finish my program in August 2022, can I apply for post-graduation work permit right now, or do I have to be graduated before I can submit my papers? Well, Steven already explained it. You have to graduate to apply. You cannot, if your program finishes in August 2022, then you have to wait until August until you're graduated to apply, right? Good afternoon, Steven and Marla. I'm filling the form for
Marlon,
yes.
Just to add that one, sometimes students may get confused that one. As soon as you get like your offer letter or LOA may say that your program ends in August, but if your like last semester is a placement or something like that, you may complete your placement in 8 weeks or 7 weeks. You may complete all the requirements for your program. In that case, you will graduate immediately after you complete all the requirements. So make sure, if you complete all the requirements, it may take another 1 or 2 weeks to graduate or get your documents in your My Cambrian account. So if you already completed all the requirements in July or end of June, you may graduate in July, early July. If you still have courses to do or classes going till end of August, then you only receive your course completion letter in last week of August or first week of September. So final day plus maybe 2 weeks maximum to get your documents. So if you already completed a program, look for your course completion letter in My Cambrian. Probably you will receive it next week.
Okay. I have a question. I'm filling my forms for post-graduation work permit, and I got some questions. The forms 5710, they are education. My highest level is master's degree.
Okay.
And a college diploma.
We'll come to that one. We'll come to that one.
Okay, we're gonna go on the second level. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I finish a program and wait for months to start another 1-year program? If there is any issue for then apply for post-graduation work permit for 3 years? No. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can apply. Because I'm sorry, you asked 2 questions at the same time. So let's finish one question. Number one. One question is, can I finish a program and wait for months? Yes, you can. The second question is, there's any issue for them to apply for post-graduation work permit of 3 years? No, there's no issue for that. So you can take program 1, let's say, and finish that and wait for another program for 4 months, and then you're okay for that. Okay. If I finish the program, the same question again. Can I apply for open or closed work permit when my post-graduation work permit is about to expire? No. The answer is no. You cannot, as Steven mentioned before, you cannot apply for another post-graduation work permit. However, just to be clear, because I know somebody's gonna come and says, no, hold a second, it is happening as we speak. Yes, Immigration Canada has provided some options to international students who they post-graduation work permit will expire by December 2022. But that is because of an exception. That is not the law. The law says you cannot get another post-graduation work permit after you graduate. And yes, you might be able to apply for open or closed work permit after you graduate, but it is important for you to know that it's extremely hard to do it. I've been here for 8 years, and I know 2 students who have managed to get another work permit after they graduate and the post-graduate work permit expired. Only two. I repeat this, only 2. You might be number 3, but it's only 2. But then Immigration Canada, because of COVID-19, not because of the law, it's because of COVID-19, Immigration Canada granted some students the possibility to stay in Canada another 18 months working because of COVID-19. They did it in 2021, and they are doing it right now in 2022. It is very unlikely that Immigration Canada will grant the same permit in 2023 because it looks like the government or the system is starting to handle COVID-19 situation, and it looks like the system will say, you know what, we don't need this anymore. But it's up to you if you want to. Pretty much it's a bet. You're betting against yourself, hoping that Immigration Canada will allow you to get another permit after your post-graduation work permit is expired. Sibing? Sibing, are you there? Hello? I am lost in here or what? Oh, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We continue, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I will go for the next question then, because for some reason, if I finish one program of 2 semesters and then another 3 semesters, can I apply for 3 years? Yes. You can I apply for a 3-year work permit? Yes, you can get, if you finish one program, either 2 semesters or 3 semesters or vice versa. It doesn't matter how you handle that. Yes, you can apply for 3 years of post-graduation work permit. Can I work if my SIN number is expired and post-graduation work permit did not receive? Yes, you can apply with expired expired SIN number. And even though you don't have the post-graduation work permit in your hands, yes, you can do so. There is some explanation in Immigration Canada for that. If I finish my program, come on, Rosa, you asked the same question like 100 times. Can I apply for post-graduation work permit if I study outside Canada, taking a break between terms? I started in fall 2021, but took a break to resume in fall 2022. Wow. Okay,